The Senate will come to order. I ask everyone present to please rise and repeat with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the absence of clergy, may we please bow our heads in a moment of silence. Thank you. Reading of the journal.
In Senate, Sunday, March 20th, the Senate met pursuant to adjournment. The journal of Saturday, March 19th, was read and approved. On motion, Senate adjourned.
Without objection, the journal stands approved as read. Presentation of petitions, messages from the Assembly, messages from the Governor, reports of standing committees, reports of select committees, communication reports from state officers, motions and resolutions. Senator DeFrancisco.
Madam President, on page 9, I offer the following amendments to calendar number 128, Senate print number 2682 by Senator Robach, and ask that said bill retain its place on the third reading calendar.
So ordered.
Also on page 9, I offer the following amendments to calendar 127, Senate print 1965 by Senator Robach, and ask that said bill retain its place on third reading.
So ordered.
And finally, on page 22, I offer the following amendments to calendar 359, Senate print number 3048A by Senator Ort, and ask that said bill retain its place on the third reading calendar.
Yeah. So ordered.
Could you please take up the non-controversial reading?
May we please have the non-controversial reading of the calendar.
Calendar number 115 by Senator Ort, Senate Print 3115, an act relating to authorizing.
There is a home rule message at the desk. The Secretary will read the last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 50.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 122 by Senator Martin, Senate Print 241, act to amend the vehicle and traffic law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect on the 90th day.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young.
Announce the result.
Ayes 50.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 139 by Senator Lanza, Senate Print 3480, an act to amend the penal law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect on the 30th day.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young.
Announce the result.
Ayes 51.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 141 by Senator Croce, Senate Print 4520, an act to amend the penal law.
Read the last section.
Section 2,
Lay aside for the day.
calendar number 170 by Senator Lavelle, Senate Print 2928, an act in relation to authorizing.
There's a home rule message at the desk. The Secretary will read the last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 52.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 202 by Senator Ranzanoff for Senate Print 797, an act to amend the vehicle and traffic law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect on the 1st of November.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young.
Announce the result. Senator DeFrancisco.
Ayes. Ayes 50, nays 2. Senators DeFrancisco and Perkins recorded in the negative.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 203 by Senator Golden, Senate Print 1452, an act to amend the vehicle and traffic law.
Read last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect on the 90th day.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 52.
Announce result. Okay. Bill's passed.
Calendar number 205 by Senator Nozzolio, Senate Print 1584, an act to amend the vehicle and traffic law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect on the 1st of April.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young.
Announce result. Senator Nozzolio to explain his vote.
President, I ask permission to explain my vote. Madam President, I thank my colleagues for supporting this measure, a measure that enhances and honors the veterans of our state by establishing a Veterans Remembrance license plate, the proceeds of which, after the costs of developing the program and developing the plate itself, those excess costs will be provided to the cemetery fund for veterans in this state. It's a small token of our thanks and appreciation to the tremendous sacrifices made by our veterans. The Veterans Cemetery program is a place of honor and distinction for our veterans. New York State and this legislative body in particular made the commitment to honor veterans through the Veterans Cemetery Remembrance Fund, and this measure helps additional monies go into that fund. Thank you, Madam President. I strongly support this measure.
Senator Zoli will record in the affirmative. Announce result.
Ayes 56.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 206 by Senator Flanagan, Senate Print 2136, enactment of vehicle and traffic law.
Read last section.
Section 2, this act to take effect on the 120th day.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young.
Announce the result.
Ayes 55, nays 1. Senator Parker recorded in the negative.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 207 by Senator Flanagan, Senate Print 4220, enactment of vehicle and traffic law.
Read last section.
Section 4, this act to take effect on the 1st of November.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 54, nays 2. Senators Montgomery and Perkins recorded in the negative.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 217 by Senator Savino, Senate Print 3243A, enactment of penal law.
Read last section.
Section 3, this act to take effect on the 60th day.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young.
Senator Savino.
Thank you, Madam President. 4 years ago, I stood in front of a subway station with then public advocate Bill de Blasio, who's now the current mayor of the city of New York. He joined me and a member of the Assembly, Mike Cusick, calling on the legislature to introduce legislation to create the penalty of a felony of sexual abuse in the subway of forcible touching. It was in response to a Court of Appeals case where the Court of Appeals found that their hands were tied, that the law did not allow them to adequately punish some of these predators that were in our subway system, preying on women, and young women in particular. We introduced that legislation. It has passed this House more than once. Unfortunately, it has not gotten through the Assembly. Instead, the Assembly has continued to treat this crime trivially. And in fact, they have maintained that the current penalties are sufficient. Well, since last year, the level of offenses in our subway system have risen 33%. And in fact, the sex crimes unit in the transit system has reached out to say we need to do more. So we are again going to pass this bill today, and we're going to add a new crime as well, the crime of public lewdness in public transit. We are seeing some of the worst predators, and I know there are young women in the chamber today. Hopefully they will never experience this in our subway system. But if you are a young woman and you are riding in the New York City subway system or on the buses, you will encounter this every day. You will see this if you are locked in a train from station to station. You may be physically touched, you may be forcibly touched, you may be exposed to someone who is exposing themselves to you, who is menacing you with his body parts exposed, who is threatening you. And right now, the law does not treat those predators as seriously as that threat is against you. This piece of legislation will do that. It is time for us to stop pretending that this is not serious. These are not flashers in a trench coat. They're not hiding in the bushes. They are vicious sexual predators preying on women in our public transit system. We must treat them as they are, vicious sexual predators. We need to send a message. The MTA has most recently at their board meeting said they are trying to figure out how to prevent these people from ever riding the subway again. They're talking about banning them from using public transportation. That's how serious they think this crime is. It's time that the New York State Legislature realizes how serious it is. I vote aye, Madam President.
Senator Savino will record in the affirmative. Senator Krueger to explain your vote? No? Okay. All right. Announce the result.
In relation to calendar 217, those recorded in the negative are Senators DeLon, Hamilton, Hassel-Thompson, Krueger, Montgomery, Parker, Peralta, Perkins, and Sanders. Ayes 50, nays 9.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 300 by Senator Peralta, Senate Print 1250, enact amend the penal law.
Read last section.
Section 8, this act shall take effect on the 1st of November.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes
Announce the result.
59.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 357 by Senator Carlucci, Senate Print 6595, enact amend the criminal procedure law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young.
Senator Carlucci to explain your vote.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to support this very important legislation. What this legislation would do would give every county throughout the state of New York the authority to implement and create problem-solving courts. Problem-solving courts are not a new concept. They've been around for some time. Many of our municipalities may have drug court or other types of courts. But what this does is give us another tool to our district attorneys to refer individuals to the appropriate court that they might be able to get the most help from. We've seen an increase throughout the United States, throughout the state, of district attorneys, of judges wanting to create these courts. Unfortunately, in New York State, that's barred right now for our local courts. What this legislation would do is give the district attorney another tool, allow them to create these specialty courts where the judge is specially trained for a particular issue. It could be Veterans Court, Mental Health Court, Domestic Violence Court, Youth Court, Homeless Court. And as you can imagine, by having that, almost those wraparound services, having a judge that's experienced on this issue, having other services that can help, we don't just treat the symptom, but we go after the problem. What we've seen in studies where problem courts are in force, where individuals have the opportunity to go through them, we've seen a decrease of about 70% of the recidivism rate. So we're not only lowering the incarceration rates, but we're getting people the help, the treatment that they need to become productive members of society and also increase the quality of life of everyone living in the community by lowering chances of people becoming victims. So I want to thank the District Attorneys Association of New York State for having the foresight of working with me to bring our laws into the 21st century, give another tool to our judicial system to make sure that people are getting the treatment that they need. I enthusiastically support this legislation and will be voting aye and encourage my colleagues to do the same. Thank you, Madam President.
Senator Carlucci will be recording the affirmative. Announce the result.
Ayes 59, nays 1. Senator DeFrancisco recorded in the negative.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 377 by Senator Gallivan, Senate Print 404, enact amend the penal law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act should take effect on the 1st of November.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young.
Announce the result.
Ayes 60.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 381 by Senator Ravello, Senate Print 1142, enact amend the penal law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young.
Announce the result. I'll just say that and then I go.
In relation to calendar 381, those recorded in the negative are Senators Comrie, Croce, Griffo, Parker, and Perkins. Ayes 55, nays 5.
Bills passed. Mr. Floor Leader, that completes the non-controversial reading of the calendar.
Yes, Madam President, could you go back to motions and resolutions, and please take up Senate 3440 by myself and Senator Flanagan and read the title only.
Secretary will read. The reso is not before the desk at this point, Senator DeFrancisco. Just like Mercury did a long time ago. Title only, is that the request, Senator DeFrancisco? Secretary will read.
Legislative Resolution Number 3440 by Senator DeFrancisco and Flanagan, honoring Vice Chancellor Anthony S. Botter for his 20 years of distinguished service of the New York State Board of Regents.
Resolution for Vice Chair Botar. Senator DeFrancisco.
Thank you. I got to do everything around here, even get the resolution to the desk. I'm getting tired. Anthony Botar was on the Board of Regents, I think it's 6 terms, but since I don't have the resolution in front of me, I'm going by memory. But this is an outstanding citizen of Central New York who gave of his time for, I believe it's 18 years, as a regent in probably the most tumultuous time of all time to be on that board. He handled everything with great reason, great respect, and also with great dignity. Even before he was a regent, he was a member of the local school board, actually the North Syracuse School Board, and served with distinction there as well. He's always been involved in community service and education. And I believe that the Board of Regents has been diminished by him not asking to be re-elected, reappointed to the board, but he should be commended for his many, many years of outstanding service in the field of education as a Board of Regents member to the state of New York. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator DeFrancisco.
Please. I assume we have already passed that resolution?
This resolution has been previously adopted, Senator DeFrancisco.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure you knew that. Now, would you please take up previously adopted resolution?
Senator DeFrancisco, you have another member that wishes to speak, if that's okay.
If it's Senator Valesky, yes.
Senator Valesky.
How could you guess, Senator DeFrancisco? I just want to thank Senators DeFrancisco and Flanagan for this resolution, and definitely want to agree with the comments that my colleague has just made. Tony Botar was a tremendous asset to the New York State Board of Regents. 20 years he served, and I had the great privilege and honor when he was reappointed for what would be the last term, had the opportunity to second the nomination during that election process. I guess it would have been 5 years ago. So the educational community will certainly miss his efforts in the Central New York Judicial District, but I'm sure he will continue to be in close contact. His passion for education, and particularly children in Central New York, is unmatched, and we thank him for his service. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Valesky. And as noted, Senator DeFrancisco, that resolution was passed previously on January 26th, which was a Tuesday.
Thank you. Now, would you please take up previously adopted resolution 4298 by Senator Flanagan, read the title only, and recognize Senator Flanagan?
Secretary will read.
Legislative Resolution Number 4298 by Senator Flanagan, honoring Dr. Merrill H. Tisch for her many years of distinguished service to the New York State Board of Regents.
Senator Flanagan.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak on this resolution. Let me add my voice to the voices of Senator DeFrancisco and Senator Valesky about Regent Botar. And I believe he is a gentleman in every sense of the word, and served with distinction as a member of the Board of Regents. And I would like to speak about Merrill Tisch. Merrill Tisch, I am fortunate to be able to say that I'm one of her friends. Started out as colleagues, but became one of her friends. I think she and Regent Botar and people who serve as New York State Regents, it is a very difficult job, as you all know. The pay, of course, is non-existent. The hours are long. The challenges are great. The rewards are many, particularly if you are dedicated and passionate as many of these folks have been. I just want to single out Dr. Tisch for her work as a regent, for her work as the chancellor, for her passion and dedication and devotion to the great state of New York, to children all across the state. Regent Tisch, I know, has come out to my area on a number of occasions, and she was chancellor during a very tumultuous time. I believe that she epitomizes what it means to be a lady, a leader, a fabulous public servant, and someone who cares very deeply about every child in every community across the state of New York. And I'll just close on this. Probably the thing that I admire most about Regent Tisch is her own dedication and devotion and undying love for her family. We were better served while she was a regent and chancellor, and she will certainly be missed, but let me say thank you to her from the bottom of my heart for all her good work and service. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Flanagan. As noted, the resolution was previously adopted on March 15th of 2016. Senator DeFrancisco.
And we would request that or offer each of those resolutions for Mr. Botar and Dr. Tisch offers co-sponsorship.
Both resolutions are open for co-sponsorship. Should you choose not to be a co-sponsor, please notify the desk. Senator DeFrancisco.
Now, would you please go to resolution number 3784 by Senator Marchione, was previously adopted. Read the title only and recognize Senator Marchione.
Secretary will read.
Legislative Resolution Number 3784 by Senator Marchione, memorializing Governor Andrew M. Cuomo to proclaim March 21, 2016, Down Syndrome Awareness Day in the state of New York in conjunction with observance of World Down Syndrome Day.
Senator Marchione.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for the purpose of speaking on my legislative resolution J3784, which memorializes Governor Cuomo to proclaim today, March 21st, 2016, as Down Syndrome Awareness Day here in New York State. Today's designation is in conjunction with the international observance of World Down Syndrome Day, a global awareness day that's been officially recognized by the United Nations since 2012. Last year, I had the honor and privilege of speaking at the United Nations during their International World Down Syndrome Day conference. And also last year, if you remember, I gave all of you a pair of these lots of socks, which is part of an important public awareness campaign for World Down Syndrome. Lots of socks, as you can see, are fun, bright-colored socks, and they're intended to start a conversation that really hopefully leads to a genuine dialogue about World Down Syndrome. When you wear lots of socks, it's my hope that you will, that someone will ask you about them, and then you can talk about this very important topic. Today, of course, I'm wearing my lots of socks, and I found out that next year I'm going to need to give everyone a new pair of socks, because I've heard conversations like, my kids really like them and they continue to wear them and continue to wear them. How awesome is that if you shared with them the importance of these socks? Each year, the voice of people with Down syndrome and those who love them grows stronger and more powerful. There's an estimated 7 million people who have Down syndrome worldwide. 400,000 of those live here in the United States, with about 6,000 babies being born every year with Down syndrome. The great news is now people with Down syndrome live to be 60 years of age and older. And that isn't just modern medicine, it's a marvelous miracle, one that myself and millions of Americans are truly grateful for. More and more New Yorkers know someone, work with someone, and love someone who has Down syndrome. For me, it's my great-nephew, Nathan. Today is all about recognizing them and respecting their gifts. I thank you all for supporting my resolution and for supporting this growing nationwide and international effort. I certainly welcome anyone to speak about this resolution and would open it to all on the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Marchione. Senator Seward.
Mr. President, I rise to thank Senator Marchione for presenting this resolution. My only regret is I've I left my socks at home. I didn't pack them this week. They're safely at my sock drawer. But next year. But having said that, World Down Syndrome Day holds a very special place in my heart. For close to 35 years, I've had the privilege of serving on the Board of Trustees at the Pathfinder Village, which is located in Edmiston, New York, near Cooperstown. This is a world-renowned residential home and research facility, and it's a leader in community-based services for children and adults with Down syndrome, as well as other developmental disabilities. Plain and simple, Pathfinder is a very special place. The teachers and the staff at Pathfinder do an absolutely incredible job and are truly changing lives for the better each and every day. Pathfinder has grown significantly over the years. It now encompasses some 300 acres. It includes a dairy farm, a community youth soccer fields, and recently opened a health center for the community. But at its core, Pathfinder Village is about the individuals with Down syndrome. It's very, very inspiring to see firsthand the boundless capabilities of those with Down syndrome. This is exhibited every day at Pathfinder and throughout the state of New York, for that matter. And I'm very, very pleased to stand and pay tribute to those very special individuals, their families, their caregivers, in support of World Down Syndrome Day. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Seward, as noted, the resolution was previously adopted on February 9th of 2016. Senator Marchone, do you want to speak, Senator DeFrancisco?
I would. I just want to congratulate Senator Marchone. This is a very important resolution. In Syracuse, we have a place called Gigi's Playhouse. And basically, it's a place for individuals with Down syndrome to congregate and to socialize and to actually begin efforts to try to lobby legislators such as myself for the issues that are important to them. And there's this young woman who works there with Down syndrome. Her name is Kayla. Is truly an amazing young woman. She is probably one of the most effective lobbyists I've ever had. She is so respectful, so direct to the point, so honest, just an absolutely beautiful young girl. And she brings to my attention and to everybody who meets her that everybody has certain limitations or certain difficulties, but they still can be extremely effective, more effective than many without those same issues that they may have. So this is an important issue, and Senator Marchone brought it up last year, and I just want to thank her again. This is a wonderful thing she's doing today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator DeFrancisco. Again, the resolution had been previously adopted on February 9th of 2016, and it is open for co-sponsorship. Should you choose not to be a co-sponsor, please notify the desk. Senator DeFrancisco.
Yes, would you now please take up previously adopted Resolution 4126 by Senator Ritchie, read it in its entirety, and call on Senator Ritchie.
The Secretary will read.
Legislative Resolution number 4126 by Senator Ritchie, congratulating the Thousand Island Alexandria Islanders girls hockey team upon the occasion of capturing the New York State Girls Ice Hockey Championship. Whereas, experience and success in competitive sports can be achieved only through strenuous practice, team play, and team spirit, nurtured by dedicated coaching and strategic planning. And whereas athletic competition enhances the moral and physical development of the young people of this state, preparing them for the future by instilling in them the value of teamwork, encouraging a standard of healthy living, imparting a desire for success, and developing a sense of fair play and competition. And whereas the members of the Thousand Island Alexandria Islanders hockey team captured the New York State Girls Ice Hockey Championship on Saturday, February 6, 2016 in Albany, New York. And whereas the championship game, the Lady Islanders faced off against Kenmore Grand Island. And whereas with the score not at 2-2 in the final period, Thousand Island Alexandria scored with a shot which tucked the puck between the pads of the Kenmore Grand Island keeper, providing the game-winning goal. And whereas the Lady Islanders reached the New York State Girls Ice Hockey Championship game after defeating Beekmantown by a score of 4-1 in the semifinals on Friday, February 5, 2016. And whereas the athletic talent displayed by the Lady Islanders girls hockey team is due in great part to the efforts and mentoring of the team's dedicated coaches. And whereas the team was loyally and enthusiastically supported by family, fans, friends, and the community at large. And whereas the hallmarks of the team throughout the season were their close camaraderie, athletic ability, good sportsmanship, and honor, demonstrating that these team players are second to none. And whereas sports competition instills the value of teamwork, pride, and accomplishment, these outstanding athletes have clearly made a contribution to the spirit of excellence, which is a tradition of the Lady Islanders hockey team. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this legislative body pauses deliberations to congratulate the Thousand Island Alexandria Islanders girls hockey team, its members, Kelsey Cullen, Michaela Cipulo, Maddie Cohen, Miranda Kolb, Mia Cohen, Talia Parker, Emily Walty, Lindsay Bradley, Taylor Hudon, Maddie Cullen, Emily Rose, Madison Fleming, Keely Rose, Caitlin Irvine, Kelsey Bannister, Annika Balk, Kayla McCabe, Sydney Albertine, and Kylie Prance. Team managers Lydia Cantwell, Addison Reed, and Renzi Youngs. And coaches Brian Hudon, Matt Cullen, and Jamie Wiley on capturing the New York State Girls Ice Hockey Championship and on their outstanding season. And be it further resolved that copies of this resolution, suitably engrossed, be transmitted to the members of the Thousand Island Alexandria Islanders girls hockey team and coaches Brian Hudon, Matt Cullen, and Jamie Wiley.
Senator Ritchie.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to welcome the Lady Islander hockey team to the chamber. I want to congratulate you on your president. It will probably come as no surprise to many of my colleagues that had an opportunity to be interviewed after their great season and their championship win. One of the things they mentioned most often was teamwork. And we all know without teamwork, you can be the greatest player, have the best skills, but you're not going to go anywhere. The thing is, with this team, what's so amazing is that there are 5 schools that participate on this team. They are Thousand Islands, Alexandria, IHC, Indian River, and General Brown. And I think that championship win just means so much more because it does show the teamwork between the 5 schools and all of you and how you're able to work together and have such a tremendous season. And I want to thank you, first of all, for your teamwork, but for becoming such positive role models for so many young women across the North Country. I've heard time and time again respect for this team from the community and the North Country at large. So I want to welcome you. Hope your day at the Capitol was good today. I know you had the opportunity to go to the Assembly. We're certainly honored to have you here with us today and look forward to seeing what you're going to do in the future. And for all of you, continue to do the great things that you're doing. We're also very proud of you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Ritchie. We want to extend our congratulations to the Thousand Island Alexandria Islanders. Congratulations, girls, on winning the state championship. Coaches, staff, and ladies. Extend the courtesies and privileges of the House. So noted that the resolution was adopted previously on March 8th of 2016. Senator DeFrancisco.
Yes, this is also, Senator Ritchie has asked that this be open for co-sponsorship as well.
The resolution is open for co-sponsorship. Should you choose not to be a co-sponsor, notify the desk. Senator DeFrancisco.
Is there any further business at the desk?
There is no further business at the desk.
That being the case, I move to adjourn until Tuesday, March 22nd at 3 p.m.
On motion, the Senate will stand adjourned until Tuesday, March 22nd at 3 p.m. The Senate stands adjourned.